The most extreme form of bereavement is parental bereavement, and I know firsthand of this pain after losing my baby girl Millie at only 6 days old, with no indication of complication prior to her birth. It came as a complete shock to us. We never got to see her eyes, we never got to hear her cry. As the weeks passed and we were riding the tsunami of grief, those around us expressed how useless they felt. They didn't know that we too felt so useless. We didn't even know what we needed, but I knew at that point I needed to speak out. From Millie's life and death, this podcast was birthed. Little Life, Big Loss, as a safe space to talk about baby loss, grief, trauma, heartache, and hope. A safe space for lost parents to share their stories of their real-life angels. A place for those nearest and dearest to learn about our journeys and to gain a deeper understanding in how to help those who are riding the tsunami of grief. Welcome to Little Life, Big Loss. All right, here we go. Episode 11 of Little Life, Big Loss. Today I have a beautiful mama with me. I'm going to cry before I even start. Fuck. I normally don't know a lot about somebody's story, but Cassandra filled in a form to be on the potty and she put a fair bit of detail in there, and I'm telling you, it's a fucking heartbreaker. So, my first question always, I just want to say firstly, thank you so much for being so vulnerable and opening up this space and trusting me with your story, because it's a big one, and I don't ever take for granted the opportunity to speak to somebody about the loss of their baby. So thank you so much. I love your bear. I love your baby, and I'm really honored to be here with you. Firstly, my first question is always, who were you before you lost your baby? Because we know that the day that happens, we change forever. And so who were you before that day?
Well, I was living in Alice Springs, so I was just a youngster, I guess, just doing bar work and stuff, and with my partner, and yeah, it was a bit more out there. But
yeah, just a normal gal. yeah. And so when did you live in Alice Springs?
Up until the end of January this year. So early February we got to Brisbane. So we drove, I was about 29 weeks pregnant, and we drove, and it was 3,000 kilometres in the car, packed up everything and just left. So
my auntie and uncle just spent the weekend here with me, and they've been living out in Alice for 5 years. Oh my gosh, they had they had amazing stories, like such a cool experience living out there.
Yeah, well, my partner got work in the city here, so...
Okay, so I was about to say, did you guys move to Brisbane for the baby, or you moved there for work?
It's about half-half. My partner works for an amazing company here and doing construction, we just wanted to go to a bigger place with more opportunities. Not that Alice doesn't have any, but not getting into it. Their crime's getting pretty bad there, so... I think it's just better peace of mind moving to Brisbane.
Yeah. So you'd think, huh? And then this. Well, I mean, Anyway, let's get into your story. So let's talk about conceiving your bubba. Let's start from the beginning. So you're living in Alice. You fell pregnant. Was it something you were trying for, or?
No, I got my IUD out because it was just messing with me. I was just like, I'm just going to get it out. We went to a heavy metal festival and happened first cycle after that by accident.
Bless, yeah.
So,
and were you initially scared or excited? What was your initial reaction?
I was super excited and scared. But we were just like, well, shit, we're going to
You took your IUD out. You know the risks when that happens. So, it's not as if it was an unexpected, Yeah,
and it was just not that fast, I guess. It was just like, ooh.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was only, that would have been I had one period and then it happened, so.
Amazing.
Yeah. And, I was not expecting it. I thought I was getting sick again. I just felt super tired and took a test and, what do they call it? A dye stealer. I was just like, oh my gosh, you know.
Yeah. Oh, how beautiful.
So I was super pregnant. I was also like shit. I was like scrubbing underneath the bar with terps.
Oh, bless.
Didn't even know. But yeah. It was a sweet surprise.
How many weeks? Yeah. So how many weeks were you once you realised you were pregnant?
I think I was 4 or 5.
Oh wow! Yeah, okay, that's still early. That's early to know. Yeah,
I missed nearly missed my whole period. So and then I was like, oh, okay, this is a bit long.
I know, I've heard about these things. I better do a test.
So and it was very strong.
Yeah, that's so good. Strong little bubba. Yeah. And so you had a reasonably good pregnancy.
Yeah, he was super healthy. Good heartbeat every time, and you know, and we didn't do any genetic testing because they saw his nuchal fold was all good, you know. So they're like, oh, you don't need to do genetic testing. His chances of having anything like that super low. Yeah, I had horrible tailbone pain, but that had nothing to do with him.
That's just pregnancy. Pregnancy's hard.
Yeah, it was so bad. But yeah, and then it was pretty good, and then we drove
all the way through, all the way to the end. Yep.
Yeah, me and my partner spent 12 weeks apart, and it was very stressful. I was over in Alice applying for houses for here and stuff, and he flew back.
Oh, so he got sent over to Brisbane first?
Yeah. So I was in Alice by myself, with friends and family. But, and 20-week scan, found out it was a little boy. Everything was still perfect, fine. They're actually he's a pretty happy little baby in there, you know. Yeah. They said that my whole pregnancy, even when I had, where I thought I might have felt decreased movements for a day, they'd, I'd instantly get to the hospital and he'd just be on the machine on my stomach, and I'd be like, they're like, he's super happy.
There he is.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, good.
And then about when I was 37 weeks, I felt a bit off one weekend, and my fingers were the size of Frankfurts, and I went into the hospital and they're like, you got preeclampsia, which is super weird. I felt off, but I felt probably the calmest I felt my whole pregnancy that weekend. Okay. So that was the Easter weekend. So I went in, blood pressure was high, all the typical preeclampsia stuff. So we're gonna have to induce you. So won't be leaving here until he's here.
I don't know a lot about preeclampsia. So what exactly is preeclampsia, and is it just a random thing?
I think it is just random. It's just something where the placenta just cracks to shits, I think. Basically, it's dangerous, spikes your blood pressure. It can damage your liver. Obviously a lot of cases. And I was super lucky I caught it when I did, because I didn't have another appointment until I gave birth.
Sure.
So, a lot of women, some women have seizures, strokes, everything. And I just caught it. Luckily,
and it's dangerous to you and Bub.
Yeah. I'll tell you about that in a minute, because when he was born, there were some blood clots in my placenta, which in hindsight I'm thinking, shit, that could have been really bad if I didn't go in. But other than that, I got induced. That was gnarly, just in birth-wise. It was a couple-day process with the Foley bulb and everything. And
was it?
Yeah, I got a Foley bulb. That was really painful. That was more painful than some of the contractions. And
really?
Had that in.
And is that something they put in to assist with the labour,
dilate,
induction?
To make you start dilating. And then, 2 or 3, they broke my waters, and I started contracting on my own, but they still gave me Pitocin, so... Yeah, and those contractions sucked, and I ended up getting an epidural pretty fast. He was born. So labour only lasted about 8 hours. Got myself to 6 centimetres without the epidural, but I was like, no.
Go.
Yeah, but one thing they didn't tell me though, because they had to put me on medication for the preeclampsia to obviously keep my blood pressure under control. They didn't tell me that was going to affect him. So obviously when they were like, okay, we're going to take him down the nursery to check him out, and I was like, oh, because, the what is it called? Labetalol. It can affect their temps and their sugars, so they got to check them. They had to give him a special bottle and stuff. Other than that, he was fine. He got his temps back up overnight. They wrapped him up, and I was like, "Screw this! I'm just gonna put him on me." Other than that, he was pretty healthy. Even when I had contractions, there was not really any D cells or distress. They're like, "This is the happiest baby we've ever seen."
Yay!
So yeah.
So how long did they have him in NICU for? So it was just like some.
They didn't. They just came back. I had to stay in, and then they had to keep checking his sugars and his temperature. So once they were good, we could go. Obviously, after me being good too. Yeah. And we tried the breastfeeding for a few days. It wasn't quite latching very well. He had a very shallow latch, and it was not working for the both of us. So I just pumped and got all the yummy colostrum and stuff. So he did
good work.
So he was mixed fed formula, and which there's no shame to it.
Fed is best is my. Fed is best. Doesn't matter how he gets it. Yeah.
So he was
good job.
Happy and healthy as we knew. He was 3.5 kilos. He was a long boy too. So
yeah.
Good
they
work,
said
he's
Mama.
all good. We'll go home.
Yeah.
I was like,
okay. Yeah. And so you went home.
So we went home. And over the next 2 weeks, he had pretty bad jaundice and stuff. But they said, if it's not gone by 2 weeks, just we'll take him in to do light therapy. But it did clear up on its own by 2 weeks. So that was really good. And it was pretty much just good. One thing he had really bad reflux. And I tried telling his nurses, at that point I was trying to give him more breast milk and stuff, but nothing was really helping. I tried going to a thicker formula. And everything, but he was still spewing. Like, I was trying to make sure I was burping him enough. He was just doing these big spews, and all the doctors and nurses were like, he's fine, it's just reflux. And I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but what happened? But I was like, he's doing big vomits, and his soft spot was sunken. And I kept trying to tell them.
I've learned.
I think they told me that means.
Yeah, one of my friends said that means they're dehydrated, is that right?
Yeah, that's what I got told by the doctors and nurses, and they're like, oh no, that's fine. I was like, okay,
Yeah. Your intuition was telling you otherwise.
Yeah, I was just like, But then they were telling me, first time mum, you're anxious, he's fine, he's doing fine.
Fuck.
So, when he was about 3 weeks old, he had this one morning where he was just super fussy. Like, he was screaming to the point he was red. He was taking feeds, He ate a lot too. But that was probably just him being his dad's boy. But he was just screaming. He had quite a few big vomits. So I was like, I'm just going to phone the ambos. I'll take him in and get him checked out. Because he was really hot to touch, and he was just so unsettled. He wouldn't let me put him down. I was like, okay. All right, we're going to go into hospital. And obviously, by the time the ambos came, he was calm. But we went to the hospital. And even the ambos, I'll give it to them. So, like, they were just like, your baby. And, he went into hospital, and his liver levels were a little elevated, but they just told me that's probably because of the jaundice. Which, in hindsight, I'm like, I wish they'd investigated that more, but they assured me it was fine. It was just a little bit. And they also had a murmur.
So so you had liver levels were high,
slightly elevated.
Yeah, okay.
But within normal range, but they were like,
looking back now, you're like, okay, that could have been something. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, his jaundice had gone away like a week prior. I don't know how it would have been. Then the other thing they found was a heart murmur. So, which, obviously they would have had to, they did the ECG, EKG, the echo. Yeah. And they found he had pulmonary stenosis, which is a narrowing of the pulmonary valve, which carries blood. I have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, and they said it was mild, it's fine. It's just, they describe it as like a sticky valve.
Okay.
But they said his is fine, it's functioning well. They'll just keep an eye on it. You'll go to appointments. And, no, I felt really guilty. I was like, shit, I've given this genetically to him, and now he's going to have to go to appointments for the rest of his life. And,
yeah. Do you have troubles with yours? Is it something you've always known that you've had?
I've always had it since I was a baby, but I've never had troubles with it. So I was like, he'll be fine. If his is only mild, like mine was when I was a baby, then obviously they talked about stents and stuff to, but they were like, in later date, he'll just do, follow-up appointments and stuff.
See what happens, Yeah.
Like, obviously, if he's not well, bring him in, but I even asked them, I was like, is there anything to look out for? Like, they're like, oh, just, if he's, not breathing, obviously, bring him in, but,
Far out. Yeah.
We got rushed out of there because I needed my room really badly, but, and then 9 days later, on the 12th of May, so he just turned 4 weeks on the Wednesday. It was a normal day, it was fine.
Yeah.
It was happy, I had him in the swing while I was in the kitchen making eggs and stuff, and my friend from Alice said he was in town. We're like, okay, so we're going on the ferry, we're going to the city and go have lunch with him. Yeah, and everything was fine, like he was fine. I remember those second to last feed he had technically when we were in town at about 1 o'clock, I was feeding him and he did this massive spew down my arms, and I thought, he still ate his food. You know how they tell you, if he completely doesn't want food or, bring him in. He still ate it and he was fine, and he was pooing, he was peeing fine all day. He went back to sleep after, so I wasn't worried. But I was like, if his next feed is off, I'll take him in. Like, because I was like, that was a big spew. And, wrapped up with lunch, and then we got on the ferry home. And I didn't notice why we were on the ferry because I was just staring at him. I was just like, I remember thinking, I was like, I don't know how I made something so beautiful. But, and I just, but he looked like he's breathing fine, maybe a little bit shallow, but I just, jiggled his chest, and he was like, oh. I was like, are you fine?
Yeah.
As I thought. We got to my partner's work site office because it's not far off the ferry, and I was gonna walk back with him home, so we get formula on the way home, and he started waking up usual time, grumbling for a feed. He was hungry, so I was like, oh, we'll feed him before we go, and so my partner made up the bottle and he wouldn't take it. We're like, oh, that's weird. But my partner said, like, he had done a massive poo in his nappy. So we're like, we'll just change him first and, go from there. And I held him kind of like this in my arms. And I noticed his lips were going a little bit pale, but my partner assured me, because there was a horrid yellow light there in front of the office, is like, because the sun's going down too. It was probably just that. He took him off me. He laid him down in the pram to change his nappy. And basically all his blood was just coming out of the side of his nose. And I was just like, Alex, like, he's got a blood nose. And he was like, oh fuck, like, what do we do? He like picked him up, and he just was not, like, he just went sloppy. His lips were completely pale. Fuck? And luckily, not luckily, there were some of his co-workers there, bless their hearts, CPR trained. They took him straight away. They tried to, and he started coughing up frothy blood too.
Fuck.
We didn't know what to do. We're like, what the fuck do? We need to call an ambulance. And I was immediately on the phone to an ambulance, freaking out. And his co-workers took him into the office and started trying to clear his airways and do CPR, which they did on him for ages. They did it all right too. They gave him the best chance. And they they got him back for a second, but then he went again, and then the ambos came. They tried, and they took him to the hospital. And all I'm thinking is, like, this can't be it. Like, you know, me and my partner were just holding each other. Just going, like, what's happening, you know? And I just kept saying to them, I was like, is he breathing? Like, no one would give me an answer. And, they took him to the children's hospital. There was about, I think, 20 doctors and nurses waiting for us. And they put him on the table, and they tried their best, and they gave him adrenaline, bloods, everything. And I remember the doctors looking at the sheet of paper, I guessing that was his blood results, and he's going, I remember them saying his sugar levels, like, really high, which basically means the body's failing. So, you know, they tried for ages, and eventually the nurse came up to me and was like, I'm sorry, there's nothing else we can do. And I was like, I remember yelling, I was like, no, you're going to keep going. You're going to keep trying. And they're like, it's too much for his little body. And that was that. And they're like, do you want to hold him?
Oh.
And so we got to hold him, and it was just horrific, feeling his little body go cold. Take little last gaspy breaths from all the air that had pumped into his stomach. And CPR. That was that. In the hospital, did the rest. I did the box, and we had a room with him, and investigators come and ask us questions just in case of, like, child neglect.
Oh, fuck.
And stuff like that, which is the worst thing. I'm just trying to, like, take in my last moments with my babies. And they have to, I guess, because there's so many cases of child abuse where babies just die.
And so they're doing it there in the hospital whilst all this is happening, or?
Like, after, so, like, a few hours later, like, we went home, grabbed some clothes from him, and came back and just called everyone. And,
my word.
As we were they set up, like, a cold room where we, got to sit with him. And, and the investigators obviously come in, as I'm holding him.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So...
And, I don't know if it was comforting or not, but they just told me to put him down like I'm putting him to bed for the last time. I think I'd been up for like 24 hours at that point. And they're like, okay, well, what do they call him? That person that comes and takes the bodies is going to come soon.
Fuck.
Like, okay. So, yeah.
Did they give, how much did they give you an opportunity to spend as much time with him as you want? And did they give you options? And
Yeah, we spent a good, I think, 5 or 6 hours with him, I think. We got to dress him and cut some hair off of him and stuff. But it didn't feel like enough. I didn't want to leave him.
No, of course not.
But obviously, decomposition's not kind.
Yeah.
So there was
did they put him in a cuddle cot or anything? And like in the cot,
they
put you in
a really cold room. There was a cot there. I can't remember if it was cold or not, but the room was freezing. That was that. And we went home and just.
That is so fucked up.
We had some friends pick us up, and they helped us move. I couldn't look at his bassinet.
Of course.
Which, eventually we had fallen asleep because I'd been awake for 24 hours at that point. And I was still facing my partner, and I just wanted to turn around and just think, I fucking hope that was just a bad dream. And that you're still laying next to me.
No. Cass, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I think my thoughts instantly are just it's just not how it's meant to be, and I feel like your intuition was so high that, you knew something was wrong with him, like the fact that, you thought the reflux was not okay, you thought, all of these things, and it's...
It just got dismissed a lot.
Yeah, that's how you feel? Like you feel that that this could have been found earlier?
And I didn't have much family up there. My mum came up, but she was a good help. But other than that, it was just me and Owen. I mean, my partner Alex, Owen, that's his nickname. So I don't, I wouldn't have known what's wrong and right. And obviously, like now I look through pictures and videos and I pick things out. And yeah, but I remember the doctors and nurses saying he was fine. He was fine that week, that 9 days before.
And are you having anything investigated or anything like that, or is there anything, or it's not?
So they did his autopsy, and it was inconclusive. We were like,
"Oh,
how like that inconclusive?" They have taken his some of his brain tissue and his spinal cord for further testing, but it could take another year or so.
Yeah, how does that come back inconclusive? Like, how does your baby die and is vomiting and this and all these things? Like, how is that inconclusive?
Like, I would think something along the lines of like a pulmonary hemorrhage. Even my dad, who was a nurse, he came up and he was like, "It sounds like some sort of hemorrhage or, something." Like, he was sitting next to me while I was like the coroner was speaking, and he was just going like, so, yeah.
And so, did you guys have a funeral for him?
Yeah. My partner's mum came up and sister. My dad came, and then everyone else came. So I had aunties, and then we live streamed it to the rest of our family everywhere. So we had family in Adelaide, Sydney, Alice, everywhere.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And we got him cremated, and he's in the little bear. And
is he in the bear?
Yeah, he's got his urn in the bum of it. This is
Harrison. I love that. Hey, Harrison.
We got little bits in the necklaces. My partner's got a necklace.
That's so beautiful. It's so fucked up at the same time. Like, that is just not... It's just not how it's meant to be, hey? Like, it...
I just think, like, how the hell did we not get answers for that?
Totally. And so because I don't know, because we didn't end up doing an autopsy on Millie. So when an autopsy comes back inconclusive, I mean, you've said they've sent off other things and that could take a year or so. Is there any other testing they can do? Do they have any of his DNA? Is there anything more, or that's just it? That's, you just left with...
I just assume that they did everything. Like, they did say to me, they're like, in a lot of cases with newborns, there's not always an answer. I'm like, okay.
And so have they put it down as SIDS? Is that what...
I don't think they've deemed a final cause. I don't think until they get the brain tissue and spinal cord. But I'm guessing, I think they've kind of prepared us not to get answers.
Far out.
I don't know if it would be deemed as SUIDS. Because it wasn't a typical case of SIDS. He didn't just,
just stop breathing. Yeah, he didn't. Yeah.
So
it's so fun. It's just fucked up. I just have no other words for it. Like, it's just. And so, before I started this podcast, I reached out to a lot of my friends who had lost babies, and I said, like, what do you think are some of the things I should be asking on the podcast? And I guess, like, my question to you is, like, what do you feel like needs to be done now? Like, did you have the right support in the hospital? Like, you feel like you were dismissed, which I just hate so much for you. And, do you feel like there's things that need to be changed? Because I know a lot of medical professionals and midwives and things are listening to this podcast now. What is it that you would have felt you would have been better supported in this situation?
Just, even if it's little, don't dismiss it, like still investigate it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I just say to every mum, like, if you've got a hunch or you've got a gut feeling, don't let them turn you away. If you think something's wrong, you fucking fight for that.
Have you heard of Ryan's rule?
Yeah. I actually didn't hear about it until after.
Maybe we need to be screaming that from the rooftops a little bit more.
Because I remember in the hospital, the 9 days before, I mentioned that I was like, because he still did big vomits while I was there. And they were like, his bloods will come back fine, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. And I remember saying about a soft spot, and they're like, it doesn't look very sunken. And I was like, well, it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's almost like you're pointing out all these things, and they were just like, no. So one of my girlfriends, she has a little bubba, and he's like, we call him Millie's boyfriend. Like, he was going to be my Millie's boyfriend. And he's always sick, and Em's at one stage was not taking him to the hospital because every time she went, she just got dismissed. She just got sent home. And then there was the last time she was taking him in. And when you were talking before about Harrison's breathing, like, she was sending me videos one night of Mateo's breathing. And I'm like, girlfriend, you go to the hospital and you do not leave until they admit you. She spent 5 days there, and 3 nights she slept in a chair in emergency because she was like, but we just kept saying to her, do not leave. And then somebody had told me about Ryan's rule, and they said, tell her about Ryan's rule. And it was like, but how fucked up is it that you have to sit there saying, I'm not leaving? And because most people wouldn't. I'm with you, girlfriend. Like, I would have been like, okay, like, you're telling me it's fine. And your gut's saying not. And it's the same with when Millie was in my uterus. Like, I kept saying, she's not kicking, she's not punching. I had a feeling it wasn't okay, but everyone told me it was fine. So we'd like to believe what all the medical professionals are telling us, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just think, okay, they know best. Which they do. I had some amazing nurses, but I think when I needed more attentive care most, I didn't get it. So...
And I think from the medical side
nurses,
of things, I know... Yeah, and we did too. We had beautiful nurses, and I guess they're usually overworked and underpaid and not many staff and all the kinds of things. So I'm sure they do their best in every situation, and it's just shit that this then happens, and we feel like we've fallen through the cracks or something like that. And
well, I was rushed out of the room. They said, "Oh, take your time," like packing up and stuff, and then they came back in and they're like, okay, actually we really need this room. I was like, okay. So I had Harrison, I had the bags, blankets, the big tin
when
of
he was
formula.
sick, when you went there,
when I was
and
in
you
the
were
hospital,
sick.
yeah.
Oh my word, that is not okay. That is not okay.
Yeah, it was just, yeah.
Can you have, and this is just my head thinking, like, can you get the reports from any times that you've been to the hospital to have it looked at? And, I mean, maybe these things, maybe some would say, what's the point or whatever, but it's like, I don't know, part of me would be like, I would just want that looked at, like, why? So
I did tell the coroners all about that. Yeah, I guess they are looking into it, and they said, I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this on, but they'll
we haven't said what
they
hospital
will
it
check.
is, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll check all his records, like, quote unquote, to see if they missed anything. And I have tried to go through that process of requesting his information, but it's like a really lengthy process. You have to pay like a processing fee, and I have to prove that I'm his mum. I'm just thinking, why do I have to prove that I was his mum? Like, how am I going to use this?
Yeah.
I quite literally said to the guy on the phone, sorry to him, I was like, he's dead. Like, how am I going to... Why can't I access his records now? But, yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard. But, I mean, so we've asked for Millie's records from the hospital that we were at when we were in NICU, so we got transferred from Pindara up to Brisbane Mater, and they have said that that's fine, but I have to go to the hospital and have a meeting with the neonatologist and the head of the the ward that she was in, and they will sit with us and go through it, and then we can have it. So I'm still open to doing that. I needed to discuss it with Dylan, but obviously it's super traumatic to have to go back to the hospital where your baby passed. So it's like, okay, are we ready for that? When are we going to do it? But I do really want to go over all of that, and I want to be able to hear, okay, when we were doing this test, because when you said, like, you walked in and there was 20 people working on Harrison, I sobbed, because I'm like, the vision of me watching that happen to Millie, I've experienced that, and it's so fucking traumatic. It's so bad.
Yeah. I still struggle with it to this day with the flashbacks.
Of course.
I mean, I don't think it's something I'll never forget, but...
No. Well, it only happened in May. So this was the 12th of May this year?
Yeah, he was born April 12th and he passed on May 12th.
Wow. Yeah. And what was the support like after? Is it like, so were your friends supportive and your family, and what kind of things were put into place for you guys once Harrison had passed and you got home? And
so Alex's work was amazing. His bosses, all his work colleagues were just incredible with us, honestly, and they, so quite a few of them were there that night, which I imagine wouldn't have been easy for them. And his boss was there, and he had his hand on our shoulder the whole time, and all our family flew up. And the only thing that's really hard at the moment is I did have an amazing grief counsellor, but she's had to take personal time off, and I haven't gotten another one in like 2 months. So
that's really hard.
It's been really hard. And my biggest advocate, my dad, who was a nurse, he was saying, he passed away in October too, so last month. So it's just been like, I'm starting to feel like the Grim Reaper.
Oh, honey. Honey.
But he was the one,
Oh.
So it's just been really hard.
I just want to give you the biggest hug through the phone. Was your dad's death sudden?
Yeah.
Oh.
Heart attack, usual stuff. Yeah, it was just you think about things, you're like, why?
Yeah.
I don't know if you think about this too. There's so many babies being born into bad homes and terrible situations. You're like, how is that fair? You just want to.
Yeah. I have 2 brothers and a sister, and I'm the youngest. And my brother, that's just a little older than me, has an ice addiction, and he has at least 4, 5, 6 kids, and it infuriates me. I just think, they're my nieces and nephews who I love and adore, and I don't get to have a relationship with them very well because of the kind of parent he is. And even my mum rang me the other day. My mum and my dad are drug addicts, and my mum rang me and was so sad, saying, she got 4 healthy babies. I'm one of them. And so it breaks her heart that she's now seeing me go through this. It's like, and you're so right, you see so many families of people that don't deserve babies, and then good people lose babies.
And I did, I pretty much did everything to prevent SIDS. I gave up smoking as soon as I found out, because I wasn't expecting to get pregnant, but I tried to eat relatively healthy, whatever I could stomach, but, I stayed sort of fit, as fit as I could with my tailbone,
I was about to say, as soon as you came when you're pregnant, because it's so hard.
I tried to walk at least 10 steps, no. And I just, even when he was here, I was sterilising everything, I really did try with the breastfeeding, but I do believe fed is best. I did everything I could against SIDS, and it just, not that his case with SIDS, well, it could be or it couldn't be, I don't know, but I don't know, I took my vitamins, my iron, I did have iron deficiency, but my folic acid. I've got a friend that was like, my mum was on meth the whole time I was pregnant, and I turned out fine.
I know.
Just,
it's so fucked up. I know.
So,
you know what? I went and had acupuncture today, so I'm on day 10 of IVF. We've got to now do IVF to get my eggs out. I'm not allowed to fall pregnant for 12 months. When they couldn't get Millie out, they cut my uterus acrossways and upways to get her out, right? And it saved her. I got 1 week with her because of that. But it means I can't fall pregnant till July next year. Doing IVF, I'm on day 10. I go get acupuncture today, and I was saying that to my acupuncturist. I was like, you know what? I'm not even being that strict with this IVF cycle. I'm not taking my vitamins, and I'm not doing this because, you know, I did all of that with Millie, and look what happened. And she said, she was so nice, but she said, you know what? She said, I can so understand all of that. She said, but maybe because you took all of those vitamins, you got you got to a full-term pregnancy, and you got that week with her. And it was the first time someone said that to me, and, you know, she was very brave in saying that because I could have taken it the wrong way, but I just thought, you know what? Like, that's so fucking right. Like, I did get 1 week with her, and I did get to, like, carry her till 39 weeks, and some people aren't so blessed, you know? Some people don't get to have a full pregnancy, or they don't get to have any time with their baby, so maybe for the fact that you and I did take all of our vitamins and we did everything right means that we did get some time with our babies.
you know, I think I got told after he died that all they knew was your love. That's all they knew. And I just think about that.
I know. And even for the fact that you said on the ferry you were just looking at him thinking, how did I create something so beautiful, you know? Of course you did.
The happiest I'd ever been. Most sleep deprived, but the happiest. Yeah, and you did so amazing, you know, giving him colostrum and all of those amazing things, and giving him so much love. No one told me about nipple shields until he was about 3 weeks old. I was like, my mum told me about this earlier. So breastfeeding doesn't feel like razor blades.
Oh, bless. And did you not have support for like a, what are they called, lactation consultant at the hospital?
I did have an appointment booked, but it was really hard to get there because our car wasn't booked. So our car wasn't on the road. So, yeah, to get there I would have had to take like 2 buses. I mean, I had one at the hospital who really did help and try. But I was on the phone and she was just really like, it was really harsh. She was like, well, you can't keep putting it off, you know? I was like...
Yeah. I've heard.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of old school lactation consultants who can be a little bit hard on mamas, you know. But
yeah, no one told me about nipple shields, which would have helped a while back. Because my supply dropped off, and then I'd try the nipple shield, and you crack the shits because nothing else would come out. Get a little bit, nothing else, but.
So crazy when I was...
No, you go.
Yeah, when I was pregnant with Millie, I was excited to breastfeed, but I think I'd told myself, like, oh, if I can't, I can't. Like, I was all for formula because I think I was trying to protect myself, like, that if I couldn't do it, you know, well, it's fine, I don't even want to. And then when she was born and I couldn't breastfeed her because she was so unwell, I had expressed a lot of colostrum prior, and so she got fed through a tube for the whole 6 days, and I was able to put a little bit of colostrum on a cotton tip and put it in her mouth, and I just thought, oh my gosh, or what I would give to be able to breastfeed you right now, like, you know, like, just, man,
Yeah, it was like the same sense of like, you know, you'd wait, you know, you get woken up and you'd be crying and be like, oh, here we go again, you know, I just want some sleep. And like, I wanted nothing more to hear my baby cry, you know? I just wanted nothing more for him to wake up and hear him cry. The cat's awake.
Oh, honey. Yeah, I know. And you sharing your story would make so many people, like, now appreciate, like, one of my friends was texting me at 2:30 the other morning and she just said, I said, are you awake feeding? And she said, yeah. And she said, these are the times that it hits me the most what happened to you, because she said, I lay here at 2:30 in the morning and her baby was born the day Millie passed away, one of my bestest friends. And she just said, our babies were meant to be growing up together. And she said, I'm supposed to be awake with you talking about mastitis and feeding and, all these things that we're meant to be complaining about things together, and we can't. And it's just like, and I think for me, it's made so many of my friends have a whole new realization on their baby crying and waking up in the middle of the night and being sleep deprived. And all those things are hard. Like, let's not take that away from parents. Like, all those things are hard. Not that I've ever experienced it, but fuck, I'll have a whole new appreciation for it when I finally get it.
You will.
Yeah.
Universe can't be that cruel.
Oh, I know. We're Christians, and my tattooist flew up the other day and did my tattoo, and she's not a Christian, and she said, so how's your relationship with God going? And I said, man, I'm so angry. I said, we were praying so hard for a miracle, and it's like, how does this happen? Like, where? And then, like, I've been to church once since, and I'm like, everyone's praising God for miracles and healing, and I'm like, where is it? Yeah.
So I prayed. I'd never prayed in my life, really.
Yeah.
And in that ambulance that night, I fucking prayed. I was like, don't take my baby from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I used to get angry too. I'm like, I didn't listen.
Yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard. It's so hard. I'm trying every day. I'm like, okay, God, come on. I've still, I've got faith.
Need a miracle now.
I know. And so you've just got to, like, when we're in the hospital, we were seeing the miracles at the time. Like, I was so grateful that I didn't lose her at birth, and I was so grateful that I got 6 days with her, and I was so grateful that we got we got answers with her DNA, or we're waiting for them still. But, so we could see all of those miracles, but I just still get so angry that it happened anyway.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest fear now going on. I don't know if you guys have done the same route as well, doing genetic testing. Like, both me and my partner, I'm really contemplating it, because it's like, was this something super rare that we miss and that they're not going to find, that we should get screened for? And so
are you going to do? Are you going to do genetic testing?
I think so. Once we have the money.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, should we just do or should we just wait if we do get pregnant and make sure we do the NIPT test?
Yeah.
And, like, push for more ultrasounds and more care, and I probably won't be leaving the hospital until they're 4 weeks at least.
I know, honey. And do you know, that's the hard thing? I was chatting to the podcast interview I did yesterday. She had a stillborn baby at 40 weeks, and she's currently pregnant. She's 37 weeks, and like, that anxiety is never going to leave us. And I feel like your anxiety is until the space you got to. So for us, like, I'm so fucking scared for a cesarean, because that's when shit hit the fan. And then obviously we lost Millie 6 days later, but I feel like my anxiety would lighten maybe a little bit once my baby comes out crying, because I've never had that. And then you've got your anxiety that's going to be all through pregnancy, but maybe your pregnancy will be somewhat okay, but then you've got that 4 week mark, and then, like, this girl that had her like the stillborn at 40 weeks, it's almost like we've all got this trauma for that particular time and moment, and getting through that is just how do we do it? I don't have the answer.
Probably not.
I don't know how to fucking do it. No.
Probably going to get an outlet monitor. That's for sure. Not that it happened in his sleep, but just in case.
I know.
It's just those things, and it's just that, you got so much love to give, and I don't know if you've had it either. You've had, obviously, with the cesarean, you've been told to wait. That a lot of people have said you should just wait for, like, your emotional, and I'm just like, I don't think this is ever not going to be raw, even if I get pregnant in 2 years' time. Like,
I know.
I'm kind of sick of being told that, like, you should wait. It's like,
my GP said the same, and I was like, wait for what? Like, oh, well, at least
Yeah.
you've got time to heal. I'm like, I'm not healing anytime soon. Like,
No.
you know,
I'm not gonna
and
heal from this, really.
no, and I did interview a girl the other day. So if you have a look for the episode that just got released on Sunday, Sarah. So she had a triplet loss.
Yeah, I did see a little clip on TikTok.
Yeah, and then she's gone on to have 2 more babies. And it was very interesting having a conversation with her because in the last 3 years, she's had the 5 babies, 2 Earthside, 3 in heaven. And the trauma is now hitting her. So it was a bit of a realization for me to go, yeah, okay, I understand what the professionals are saying to me in terms of I do have to wait 12 months anyway, and perhaps that is the blessing because I would have dived straight back in. You know, I was like, I need my babies now, and I would have kept going. And Sarah did say, like, she didn't give herself time to grieve and she didn't give herself any healing. She's had no psychological help, no counselling or anything, and just kept going. And it's going to, you know, and so it is hitting us hard now, but it's going to hit us hard whether we, whatever which way we do it. So,
yes. And I mean, like, I haven't gotten too much help from the system, and again, it's up, like, the government, like, not paying people enough, and
yeah,
you know, it's not too many professional, like, you know, it's the government. The government needs to start paying nurses and doctors more. But
yeah,
it's just one of those things. It's just
so
like,
you said your grief counsellor is on leave. No, I know. And so you said your grief counsellor's on leave at the moment. Are you in the process of trying to find a new one, or?
Yeah, luckily I didn't realise Headspace does grief counselling, so I'm going to go through them. Luckily, I'm
amazing.
in the threshold still of being able to access those.
Okay. What is the threshold? Is it an income based thing?
Oh no, it's 16 to 25. I just thought I used up all my sessions when I was a teenager. I don't know. I thought you only had a certain amount you could use it.
Oh, that's so good. So that's free. So for people listening, so is it free counselling sessions with Headspace for ages 16 to 25?
I think that's the ages. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
just Google it.
That's that's so good for people to know. I'll put it in your show notes as well. How old are you?
I'm 21.
No, man, the amount of trauma to go through. So much trauma.
It's just...
And then you're probably going to get those shit comments of, at least you're young. No, it doesn't fucking matter how old you are. Fuck off.
You have plenty of time.
Literally, fuck off. Plenty of time for what? Like, you know, fuck.
I would have delved straight into it too, but I made the choice, which I wish I didn't, to go get the depot shot. I wish I didn't.
What's the depot shot?
Depot Prevera. It's like a birth control shot that you can get.
Okay.
It lasts 3 months, so like I just had 3 months to think about it. Except it's messing with my hormones, even though it's supposed to warn off. My hormones are still trying to figure itself out. But don't recommend it. Really don't. But it was just a bit of time because I was like, I just need.
Whose idea was that? Was that like a doctor that said to do that or something, or?
Well, the doctor did say, like it'd be a good idea. And I think it was good just to process the shock of it, not immediately getting pregnant. And
Of course. And because that's all you want. Like, I was at the GP and I was like, okay, so we're going to start IVF. And she was like, you need to take a second. And I was so angry. I'm like, take a second for fucking what? You know, like... But yeah, I've been seeing my psych since the beginning, and she's very gentle and lovely and kind. But I was similar to you in that, like, I have an IUD in now, which I just hated the idea of. But I also was fucking with my head the thought of getting pregnant as well. So you know, it's just so much. It's so much.
I cried when I got the shot. I was
of course.
I felt so depressed.
Yeah.
But,
Because one
I
minute
think
you're
if I got,
pregnant and you're so happy and you've got a baby, and the next minute you're taking something to stop you from being pregnant. And it's like,
all you want
wanna
is
not.
another baby in your arms. Just another.
Yeah.
So
And are you
hopefully,
working? Are you back at work or anything like that?
tried to. So I've been in about
Yeah.
3 jobs so far because I just
Oh,
haven't found something that I've
honey.
been comfortable with, and because
Yeah.
I know a lot of mums that are going through grief know this. I don't cognitively function the same way I did before.
Mhm. Yep.
Like my brain doesn't work the same way it does before. I get really stressed out really fast, and I get really fatigued really fast, and
Yeah.
yeah, I just can't do as high intensity as I used to. Luckily, my
Yeah.
partner is a great support, but I am trying to
Mm,
get back into the work mode of things.
it's so
And
hard.
TAFEs, I'm doing TAFE too, which has really been a
Okay.
motivator.
What are you
So
What are you studying?
I'm doing a diploma in screen and media directing. So I think my end goal
Sick.
is to hopefully one day I can make a movie about this or a
Oh,
documentary and bring more awareness to it.
yes. You so will. You so will. You so will.
Hopefully.
Just keep talking about your story. Keep sharing it. And I know you will. And it's so important. I feel like you're. I feel like there's so much to learn from your story, and I feel like there's more research that can be done. And I feel like with the podcast, someone said to me, "I can't believe you started this podcast so soon." And I'm like, it's like something drops from heaven into your heart, and it's like, this is what I need to do. And I'm sure that's going to happen with you. Like, if it's the documentary that's going to be created or a movie or whatever it is, like, you will continue to share Harrison's story, and in whatever way, for whatever reasons, is it? Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully raise some awareness. Because I think that's the hardest part is I've never heard of a baby dying in the way he has. So, not really. Like, I've been on Reddit, Facebook,
Yeah. Yeah.
unless, like, there have
And
been babies that have died in similar ways, but there's been
yeah.
answers to theirs. And so,
And what kind of awareness would it be that you'd want people to know about? Like, just what exactly?
maybe just trust your intuition. I don't know, like, just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a common thread in
off.
each interview that I do. Like, as a mum is talking, like, they say certain things, and I think, I bet you know that was your reason. Like, each interview, it's like a mum can almost pinpoint times in it where they knew something was wrong and they weren't listening to it, or they didn't listen to their intuition, or they didn't. And a lot of you were so great for continuing to call ambulance and go to hospital and do all those things. So many people don't, because we're so scared of not being listened to or being turned away or being made a fool of. The fact that you kept going to the hospital, you called the ambulance, you did all the right things. You did,
Yeah.
and you should be so proud of that.
Oh, I'll give it to my friend. She was the one that told me, if you think something's wrong, just go into the hospital. Like, I'm really grateful for that. And same thing, her baby's 11 months old now, and Harrison would have been 7, so they were supposed to be like the best friends as well. So that's really hard too. So especially with buddies.
Yeah, I know. You have that, hey, and you just always see them, and then you're like, oh, that's what age, that's what milestone they'd be going through right now, and
they would have been eating snacks together already. Like, it just baffles my mind.
I know. It does. And I get the job thing. Like, when my mat leave runs out this week, and I'm supposed to be reopening my beauty salon this week, but obviously I'll be doing the IVF egg collection Monday, and then I'm like, okay, so I'll reopen Tuesday, and I just haven't even advertised it yet because I'm like, I'm so scared. Like, my clients are amazing and I love them, and they all know about Millie, and they've all followed my journey, but I'm still so scared because I get so tired, and you're so fatigued, and then your brain just doesn't work. Like, sometimes I'll be sitting there and I'm just staring at something and I'm just not on the planet. Like, we're just not there. We are different people instantly from the day that happens.
I cried at work the other day because I couldn't get the burger combination. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, I can't do this. And I'm starting to think, oh my gosh, everyone thinks I'm stupid. Like, like I swear my brain works. It's just not working at the moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, I am trying to find like something a bit more lax to do, but yeah, unfortunately I've only got hospitality experience, which is chaotic, but that's okay. So I was hoping the switch in my brain goes. But
yeah. Start journaling. I feel like you need to journal, and something's going to come to you, like you're saying that it's you only have hospitality, but maybe there's something else. Maybe there's another job out there that's like that's going to be the perfect one for you, and somewhere I feel like you're super creative, and you can use your creativity somewhere else, like
hopefully
doing
somewhere
some social
in the
media marketing or something. Yeah, exactly, exactly, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ask Harrison to send you something. Say, baby, send Mama something. I need a new job. Send me something.
Or a sibling, other one.
Yeah. So you guys are going to start trying again soon, or
see what happens? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We think so,
Harrison,
and then like, a big stress comes up, and then we're like, oh, it's the right time. So I'm really just trying to settle into a workplace. Yeah, because there's nothing worse than, I know when I was pregnant, just being in a workplace that just wasn't very supportive.
Yeah.
So it's priority number one. Make sure this baby gets the next baby gets even more spoiled.
Yeah, you did everything perfect.
Yeah, and hopefully my partner can take his 4 weeks off at least.
Yeah, did he get to take time off with Harrison?
He had about 5 days on the weekends, just because, I got to Brisbane, and obviously we went a bit over budget for moving because it's expensive, and he was working and stuff, but he kind of used his annual leave and stuff. But he had to use so much of it coming back to pick me up and then drive back over, and so he didn't have very much left, and we couldn't really afford to take time off. And I tried to get onto Centrelink, and I was not eligible, even though our rent's half as paid.
Oh no!
And because I'm youth allowance, and they're just like, oh, well, your partner can support you, he makes over the threshold. And I'm like, it's not how that works. But,
really?
Okay. Yeah. So
you didn't get maternity leave?
No. I was working casual before too.
Honey.
Yeah.
Honey, that's shit. That doesn't help. Yeah.
Yeah. This time I want to make sure I can... just be as stress-free as possible.
Get all your ducks in a row.
Yeah, basically. Not that having him here was stressful. As soon as he was here, it was like, alright, everything's fine. But,
Yeah. And you realise you don't need as much stuff, hey? Like, I had Millie's whole room decked out, like I'm in here now, and it's got the best of everything, and then all of a sudden you come home from hospital without your baby, and I'm like, I don't need any of this shit. Like, I don't need any of it. I just want her. Like, I just want her and a blanket and a box. That's all I need. I don't need anything else. And
this pram was probably the hardest. Because we didn't have a crib or anything set up yet. We're like, I'll wait for that. We just had this bassinet in the room and stuff, and changing table and that. But the pram, it was just having that back and just being like, all I want is to go on a walk with him. All I want is just to put him in his bassnet. So,
and it just happens so quickly. It just 100%. And it just for you, it happened. You had him, and you had him in your home, and you had him in your life, and you had him everywhere, and and then that just got taken from you in such an instant.
Coming home,
so traumatic.
Coming home, and his swing was still in the kitchen, and he still had blankets on the bed, and clothes that I had to take him out of because he spewed on them, and there's even just things like dirty nappies in the bin. I was like,
Oh.
all the stuff we just kind of
Yeah.
moved into the spare room and we haven't touched it. Every time I go in there and I'd be like, he had 5 nappies left in newborn size. Like, it's just not fair. His sleep sack was still on the bed.
Yeah.
There's still a little poo stain on the...
Just wouldn't even want to wash any of it. It's like, I'm not washing that off.
I couldn't get it off. It like stained it. I don't know how, but yeah.
Yeah.
What we come home with is a box.
It's just so traumatic. It's not how it should be. That's so hard.
I don't know if we'll get answers or what, or... Yeah.
I really hope you do. I'm not sure if you will, but...
So they, because there's so many, I like research so many things too, like primary stenosis, and there's a certain genetic things that could have been up with them, and
Oh, and that's what I was going to say to you before, like you said that you were going to do like the NIPS test next time, but even we did the NIPS test and it came back fine.
It doesn't get
everything. There is a girl on social media who's Mackenzie's Mission, and she's doing a lot of fighting in the government and parliament or whatever to try to get more testing done when we're pregnant. So she's worth a follow. I haven't dived too far into everything, but so her little girl died of a genetic disorder that wasn't picked up in utero either, and so she's fighting to get more testing done, because it's like we get so blindsided going into it thinking, I've done all the testing, I've done all the scans, my baby's fine, and then they're born and they're not, and you're like, well, what the fuck? Like, if I did no testing and no scans, I could imagine that I got to my Caesar and Millie was unwell, and I didn't know. Like, that, I can understand that. But I did all of the testing. So how does that, So, it's such a blindsided thing to... I told you to make sure you brought enough tissues, and look at me. I've run out.
I'm reusing.
It's just that's an added head fuck that, we think that we can do all these tests and we don't know. And I guess, that's where we have to sit in our faith and go, okay, well, look, we have no control. We have zero control over whatever happens, and no matter what testing, no matter what vitamins, no matter what we do, it's all laid out for us.
Especially after my dad's passing, I just think if Harrison's passing taught me anything, you just gotta live every day to the fullest, because tomorrow you could be gone.
Yeah.
And it's not fair that, Millie only got 6 days on Earth and Harrison only got 4 weeks. They should have had a lifetime more. But, I just say to everyone, just live life to the fullest. That's all you can do.
I know,
really.
right?
Just,
I know.
Like, be
that's
fucking happy.
Yeah.
Like, you do.
Which is so hard. That's what, like, it's just day by day, right? And I said it to a girlfriend the other day. She might have to do IVF, and she's like, I'll pray for this and I'll pray for that. I said, girlfriend, the biggest thing I've learned, and I'm not against praying anymore. I'm not against God. I'm really not. I'm still trying to stay so faithful and see the blessings and the miracles. But what my biggest thing I've learned is we have zero fucking control over anything. Like, no matter what I do, no matter it's all laid out for us. That's what you did everything in your power to save your little boy, and you honestly did, and I truly hope you know that. And I did everything in my power to bring a healthy baby into this world, and
the universe had other plans, apparently.
Yeah, and it sucks, and it's so shit, but
it's
how beautiful
I hate.
What's that?
Some people have said to me, maybe it happened for a reason. I'm like,
what fucking reason?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Fucking reason is that?
Yeah. I know. It's shit. There's no reason. There's no silver lining. There's no at least. There's no but. There's no nothing. There's not. And I used to always say those kinds of things. Everything happens for a reason. Well,
this one doesn't make sense.
No.
Why would this
even when I started the podcast, everyone's like, "Oh, it's so great you have such a loud voice in terms of getting things out there." I was like, "Well, if I could have Millie back, I wish I didn't have such a loud voice." You know, did God choose me to do this podcast? Maybe, but fuck, I wish I didn't have to lose my baby to do it. You know, like, you know, and I have no doubt you're going to create this documentary, and Harrison's life is going to be, you know, there for that. And like, okay, there's the reason, but fuck, I didn't have to lose my baby for it. You know, it's just all...
Yeah. It's just so messed up.
It really is. There's no reasons for it. Well.
Thank you for having me on.
It's been so lovely chatting to you. I just want to give you the biggest hug, and I think there's quite a few of us between Gold Coast and Brisbane, and I'm feeling like I need to organise I feel like I need to organise some kind of little catch-up, some event, some kind of session, some kind of something, and we can all get together and just hug and cry and hang out.
Absolutely.
How's that sound? Yeah. I just want to give you the biggest hug.
Too.
What time is Alex home today? Is he going to be here with you to hug you soon?
Oh, I gotta leave to TAFE soon. The traffic's going to be nuts.
Okay. All right. Well, if you need me, I'm here. Please reach out.
Yep. Are you going to the remembrance ceremony on Saturday? There's one at the hospital.
Oh, I don't know about it. Is there?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about it. At the Martyr?
I can't remember which hospital. But if that's on, maybe ask them about that.
Remembrance ceremony.
Red Nose organised it though, so I don't know if it's... I don't know.
Well, yeah, I would love to know about it. I'll find out. Mm-hmm. And if I do and you're there, then that would be amazing. Mm-hmm. Oh, honey, I'm giving you the biggest cuddle.
That sure works.
Yeah. Are you okay? Is there anything else you want to say before we go?
I don't think so. Apart from it's very hot in Brisbane today.
Biggest hugs. And if you don't want to go to TAFE, just drive to my house and I'll give you the biggest cuddle.
That's right. I gotta go. I'm taking too much time off.
All right. So proud of you. Hey, I just want to recap. You're amazing. You did everything in your power for your baby. He only knew love. You are just divine and he loves you. And he's with you all the time. And I'm just like so honored to have you on the podcast. Like so honored. And I truly believe that when we make friends on earth, that our babies are dancing in heaven together. So I have no doubt that Harrison and Millie are having like the most beautiful little play in a garden together today.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay, beautiful.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Can't wait to meet you. Bye, Bob. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Big loss. If you are here because you've experienced baby loss recently or a long time ago, I'm so sorry. I know this pain will never go away. My heart breaks with you. This is a pain no one ever expects to endure. Or maybe you are listening because you have just found out your baby is unwell in utero and now you have some really hard-hitting decisions to make. I am, again, so sorry. These are decisions no parent should ever have to make. I hope these podcasts can lighten the load just a little bit in ways to help understand what the road ahead might look like and what your options are. Remember, you always have options. It is your body and your baby. If you have never experienced the loss of a baby and you are here to learn, thank you. We want to be heard and listened to. You will help someone somewhere with the knowledge taken from these podcasts. If any of today's conversation has triggered any uneasy emotions for you, please contact Lifeline on 13 11 14 or lifeline.org Another organisation working specifically with pre- and postnatal depression and anxiety is PANDA. You can find them at panda.org.au. And remember, postnatal depression and anxiety does not discriminate. It can affect both men and women, mums and dads. Please seek help from your GP, a psychologist, your local hospital, a midwife, obstetrician, Lifeline, or PANDA. Thank you again for listening. I love you and miss you, my Millie.